guys, let's talk about one of the biggest game changers for your business. Let's talk about ways to direct clients towards your value and not your price, okay? The way to direct clients towards your value is to lead with value first, okay? Serve value before price in all situations, and this will become one of the biggest game changers in your business. I promise you, okay? Now, I know we're talking today about shifting the focus from price to value, so this may sound a little bit strange, but we are actually going to start by talking about your price, okay? So the first way you can direct clients towards value versus your price is to be strategic with your pricing and not price yourself too low, okay? Pricing yourself low does two things. Number one, it attracts clients who value the deal over you, okay? Low pricing devalues what you do to the client. So therefore, it's not super important to them, and you'll find an increase in things like additional editing requests or dissatisfaction, cancellations and last minute reschedules, requests for further discounts, and unexpected situations like a family reunion that turns into a wedding, okay? Number two, it repels higher caliber clients who value quality. It actually does. It can cause them to assume that you're inexperienced. It causes them to question why you're priced so low. They'll ask themselves, are they discounted because they offer less than other photographers? Or is this an actual business, or is this someone who's got a hobby looking to make some extra cash on the side? These are actual red flags to high caliber clients, okay? People do not go to Walmart for the customer service. They go for the deals, okay? People don't go to Publix for the greatest deal on groceries. They go for the customer service. There's a place for every business and a customer for it. However, if you guys are listening to this, then you're not looking to attract bargain hunters. You're looking for quality clients who value what you do and are willing to pay more for better quality service and make your life easier, okay? So how many times have you heard someone say, I'd rather pay more at Publix than to shop at Walmart? Or I overlook the customer service at Walmart because I'm trying to pay as little as possible, okay? There are people who will pay and there are people who won't. And you have got to decide which lane you're going to ride in and who do you want to invite to come along on that ride, okay? There's a place for everyone in every business, and you have to decide your place in the market. Okay, any comments or questions so far? Christina, I'm so glad that you got to join me live. Christina found me, I believe, on YouTube and ended up in my Facebook group. So I'm excited about that. That's awesome. All right, so the second way to direct clients toward your value and not your price is to select a niche that positions you as an expert in your field. And you know, this is real life, guys. If I've got not one problem, I've got two. My computer's trying to die. So let me plug this in. Select a niche that positions you as an expert in your field. Okay, guys, I have a lot of experience in this. My niche as an alternative photographer sets me apart in my area. It's one of the many reasons clients are willing to pay more with me than others, because they know they can't get what I offer somewhere else. Okay, I can't tell you the number of times I hear, you know, Becca, we just can't imagine going with a traditional photographer. You're exactly what we need. So when you have a specific niche, you are seen as the expert, the specialist in your field, okay? Someone looking for senior photos is going to have so much more confidence in a photographer with an experience that specializes in serving seniors only versus a photographer that sees anyone and everyone, okay? A couple wanting an intimate wedding are going to be much more likely to reach out to a photographer that specializes in elopements and intimate weddings before they will a photographer who does them all. Specialties are valuable to clients. If you go to the dentist and you find out you need a root canal, usually they're going to send you to a specialist called an endodontist who does them all day long and is an expert at it, okay? You're going to pay more at the specialist versus paying less and having it done with your general dentist, but the specialist will get it done faster and with more skill than a dentist who will charge less and does the procedure sometimes. Does that make sense to you guys? Kayla, don't worry that you're late. I had some technical difficulties, so we just started. You're good, girl. You are good. You are good. So, higher value causes a higher fee to make sense to a potential client. If you guys don't learn anything else today, please learn this and write it down. Higher value causes a higher fee to make sense to a potential client. They are attracted to the value of your specialty, your niche, and therefore paying more is not a deal breaker. All right? The third way to direct your clients towards your value and not your price is to create an elevated client experience before they even inquire, okay? Your client experience begins before you even receive an inquiry, okay? It starts with places like your social media, your websites, your blogs, okay? Oftentimes, maybe you'll be introduced to a potential client on social media where they first encounter you, then follow you, get to know, like, and trust you as a professional, all before they even inquire with you, okay? That's why, I'm sorry I keep itching my nose, but like allergies are bad today. But that's why things as simple as 150 character Instagram bio are so important. Talking about who you are, who you serve, what you do, all right? That's why being thoughtful and intentional about your content, your social media content, is important as well. If you need help with that, I've got a video on YouTube about how to plan 30 days of content for Instagram in one sitting. It provides strong content pillars to help you simply plan your social media, all while creating mega value for your clients, okay? All these things work together, guys. Also, blogs. People may first come across you from a blog that you wrote talking about maybe your 3 favorite local wedding venues, okay? Or maybe it's blogs on a blog on tips to look best in your photos. Blogs are a fantastic way to show your knowledge and your experience and therefore your value, right? Also, your website. They may have heard about you from a friend and looked you up on your website. That very first page is where the first impressions are made and what will either attract or repel them from looking further, okay? Show those amazing shots, give a brief blurb about you and what is in it for them, okay? Christina says, one second, girl. If we niche down, do we say on our website, if you need another photography service, send an email and we can discuss? Christina, with niching, it's okay to have more than one specialty. You'll see a lot of people who do like senior photography and wedding photography. What I'm talking about more is photographers who do it all. And photographers that do it all are pretty common when you first start out in photography, and there's nothing wrong with that because you're trying to find out where your passion is and what direction you really want to hone in on. But the sooner that you can do that, the better. So the sooner that you start niching down and you have a specialty, the more that your value is being elevated in the community. Okay? Carolina, hello. I don't know that Alyssa's in our group, so you might have to invite her to the group for her to be able to watch this. But she can also check out my YouTube channel too. But let's see, Christina says, because I would like to niche to seniors and branding, but if someone wants maternity or couples, I'm open for that. Here's the thing about that, Christina. If there's something you're open to doing and you want to make an income at that, but it's not your niche, that's cool, that's fine. But market what you want to attract. So if you are niching to seniors and branding, that's what you want to show on your website. That's what you want to show on your social media. So for example, I don't see families, but do I shoot families on occasion? Absolutely. Seniors are not my specialty. I had an inquiry for a senior this morning. Do I do those? Absolutely. But I am not going to market that in my social media. I'm not going to show those images typically. And not going to do that on my website. So I hope that makes sense. It's okay to be open to doing other projects, and you can absolutely do those. Just remember to market what you want to attract, okay? Let me know if that doesn't make sense. But the fourth way to direct clients towards value and not price is to create an elevated client experience after someone inquires, okay? We talked about what goes on before someone inquires. What about after? Now, this is something we've talked about before, guys, and I'm just going to keep drilling it into your heads because it's so important. You answer each and every inquiry with a session experience guide or a wedding experience guide and not a number. Don't ever respond with a number, okay? Respond to inquiries with a session experience guide and not a number, because we talked about this a lot, and I decided yesterday that a session experience guide is what's going to be coming into my shop for you next. just so you can have a pricing guide template that leads with value, so you guys don't have to figure this all out on your own, okay? Because the words matter. The words that you use matter, and what goes into that session experience guide or wedding experience guide, that does matter, okay? So anybody that's watching the replay at a later date, check my shop because it will probably be there by then. But a session experience guide, I do not call it a pricing guide because I do not want the word price to be the focus. If you have one and it's your pricing guide, or you are telling your potential clients, sure, I'd be happy to give you more information. Let me send you my pricing guide. Stop right now. Because you're pulling the attention on price. And remember, we're trying to pull the attention away from price and present with value first before they get to pricing, right? Okay, so this experience guide should include a little blurb about you, talk about the experience that the client should expect and look forward to, show images of your work, testimonials, what to expect regarding photos, how to book, and then your packages and pricing, okay? People need a date before they get married. So let this guide help you get to know you, help them get to know you, and what you have to offer before you put on a ring, all right? When you send an experience guide with all of these things, it sets you up for your value in the mind of the client before they see your price, right? They may say to themselves, these prices were higher than I expected, but seeing what I'm getting with the service and the quality of photos, it makes sense. Value can expand what a client will originally plan to spend, because value makes a price point make sense. All right, just like all the other things we have talked about so far, offering a high quality experience and leading with value allows you to charge more. It allows you to charge more because it causes the higher price point to make sense to a prospective client when you are doing nothing but serving and serving and serving. There's a difference. You know, being a quality business with a good client experience, not even an exceptional one, but a good client experience, is not that hard, but it's also very rare. You can exceed what your peers are doing so easily, okay? That's how you can make sure that when you're pricing, you know what you should be pricing yourself. And maybe you feel a little bit concerned because you may feel like other people around you aren't pricing as high as you are, but you know that's what you need to make because you've ran your cost of doing business. You know what income you need to make. You know what taxes you're making or having to pay because you are a legitimate licensed business. Then you can have confidence in that. Remember, we've talked about this before with pricing. You've got to know the why behind it first. Why do I need to charge X amount of dollars per session? Okay? But also you need to believe in that. You need to believe in that, okay? So there's the why, but there's also the value that you serve that supports your price points, okay? All right, looks like that's making sense to everyone. Awesome, all right? So the next way to serve an elevated client experience after they inquire is never, ever, ever go without the use of a client questionnaire, okay? Let me scroll and make sure I'm not missing any comments here. Okay, awesome. But guys, a questionnaire is imperative to not only being prepared for a session, but allows you to show you care and people value that. All right. Do you guys see that post that I made the other night in the Facebook group? Because I sent a questionnaire as I usually do. And one of my very important questions that I asked got an answer I wasn't expecting. But one of the questions that I put in there, it's probably one of the most important questions, basically are there any concerns, special needs, family situations, or physical limitations that might hinder kneeling, standing, all these other things. I list all kinds of things. Because these are things that people typically don't just offer. Sometimes they can be uncomfortable things. Sometimes they can be things that someone might even feel embarrassment about, or, you've got to start that conversation, okay? And my client responded back that, number one, she has terrible knees, but also that her boyfriend was struggling with long COVID symptoms and was on oxygen, and long distance walking was an issue. Okay, guys, this session was booked in a state park on walking trails. So you better believe I changed my plans on how I would approach the session on that day. But this questionnaire not only prepared me so I can make sure that they weren't frustrated or disappointed or even left feeling like a simple photo session was out of reach for them, but I got a comment thanking me for asking about disabilities and how I made them feel much more comfortable and confident about their session. That is the power of a good, solid client questionnaire. It's an experience that you're giving to someone. Making someone feel cared for is gold, because let's be honest, not everyone cares. Not everyone does. And this is why I have my questionnaire in my shop, because many people don't send them. And if they do, they don't ask questions like this. It doesn't take much for your client experience to expand far beyond your peers. All right. This questionnaire was something that was unexpected to my client. It raised my value in their eyes just from one question. There were a lot of questions there, but this one question raised my value in their eyes. And a questionnaire with purposeful questions can do just that for you. All right. Kayla says, will there be a rewatch? Absolutely, girl. Yes, I always have the replay available. If you go to the pin post at the top of our Facebook group page, you can click that welcome post, and then there'll be a link with all of our replays there. Okay. Also, you can follow me on YouTube as well. I have other content there too. All right, so another way to serve an elevated client experience after booking is to surprise and delight. And what I mean by that is raise value by giving them the service that they were not expecting, that will leave them saying every penny was worth it. All right, everyone walks into situations with expectations. Exceed them. Exceed them. All right, so one thing that I do at the session is I always start my clients with telling them what to do with their hands, because that's the first thing they will ask about. They already feel a little nervous and awkward, and they don't know what to do. They feel awkward about their body because they know that you're focusing on them. All right. So one of the first things I'll do is I'll say, okay, Tina and Amanda, this is going to be a lot of fun and easier than you think. One of the biggest things people worry about during a photo session is, what do I do with my hands? So if at any time you feel you don't know what to do, and then I'll tell each of them what they can do. This breaks the ice and makes them feel comfortable right away, okay? And whether that's the final pose I want them in or not does not matter to me. What matters is that they feel comfortable at all times. So I say this before they even have a flicker of feeling awkward and uncomfortable, all right? Secondly, I will demonstrate a pose. I recommend to not ever physically put them in a pose, just instruct, okay? Posing can feel a little awkward. Show you're willing to do it too, and that you understand what you are asking of them, okay? And don't physically place anyone into a pose if possible. It breaks that, that 3 feet of personal space rule that we have, and can come off extremely rude. So it's best to instruct and demonstrate, and then you can say things like, I love the pose that you're in. May I adjust your necklace so we can make sure it's laying straight? Or may I adjust your hair or straighten your jacket? Ask permission to invade someone's personal space before you do that, because it shows respect. And people value feeling cared for and respected. Don't assume that placing someone's arm in a different spot is okay. Don't do that. Ask ahead of time. You know what I mean? Also, after the session, end it with some refreshments. People do not expect this, and just a cold bottle of water and a few snacks presented in an on-brand gift bag makes such an impression. You would not have, guys, I've talked a little bit about this before, but I used to have like a cooler with drinks, and I'd have this little separate basket full of treats that I would let people select from. And I just noticed that people seemed a little bit hesitant. They're like, oh, that's so nice, thank you, but I'm fine. There's a huge difference in response when I started making little goodie bags, little ones that were branded with they're on brand for me, but little goodie bags that had a couple treats in it, a business card, and I would physically hand that to them with a bottle of ice cold water, because I'm in Florida and it gets hotter than I'll get out here, and just how their face would light up because it was an individualized little gift to them. And that really impressed them, much more than just having a basket going, here, you want to pick out a snack? Help yourself. I mean, it's a nice gesture. But I'm just telling you the difference that I saw with my experience giving this individualized to-go gift. It's very much appreciated. So a lot of people don't expect that. I don't think a lot of people do that. More should be doing that. So try that. What do I put in my bag? Typically a business card. If it's like, depending how many people are in the session, I may not put one in every single one, but whoever the primary contact was, I'll put a couple business cards in, or maybe with both, But just because Believe it or not, a lot of people like to say business cards are dead, but they really aren't. I have had them pass out to their friends and family. They'll throw them in their wallet, and they're there until someone asks, my name comes up, and there it is. So I'll put a business card in there. I usually put at least 2 treats in there. And so it depends on the person too. Like I have a variety of things because a lot of people, some people have allergies, celiac, things like that. I try not to put too many sugary things, but usually it's like a fruit snack, maybe some crackers, just a couple of small things, nothing big. It's really nothing big. And I have little treat bags like this, and you can, again, find a bag that fits you, but I have little treat bags like this. So I will put them in here, and once it's full, I tie it at the top, and it's super cute, and it fits my brand. Doesn't cost anything to get these. You can get them off Amazon. You get all kinds of designs. You get clear bags, whatever you want. It just depends on you and your brand. But I don't put much in that, and I physically hand them the water because I do keep that in an ice chest because, again, I'm in Florida. So I will hand that to them at the end and, shake off the excess water so they have a nice, fresh, cold bottle of water that's not been having condensation inside that bag. Christina says, also for kids, I bring a surprise. Like for my last session, I gave her a coloring book with crayons for the 5-year-old for good job taking pics. They love that. You are right, Christina. Kids love that. Parents love that. Before COVID, I actually had, because again, I don't see families very often, but I liked having a little treasure box. Kids love that. They love it. But I've been doing individualized gifts too, just for germ avoidance purposes now. Kayla says, do you gift it before or after? After, because usually all of us have worked up a little bit of a sweat. Again, I'm in Florida. So at the end of it, it's basically a to-go gift. Here's a glass, here's a bottle of water because I'm sure you're thirsty because they usually always are. And here's some goodies for the road. Just a couple of goodies for the road. All right. So these are ways that you up-level your experience. Do the unexpected. Okay. So after that, I want to keep the momentum going, right? Keep that momentum going. So I always follow up with a thank you message, an email within 24 hours, and I offer sneak peeks of the session within 72. Now, my business model, as many of you know, is virtual IPS or in-person sales, where my focus is on printed goods, but I realize that we're living in a digital age, and I want the client's excitement to carry beyond the day of the session. So to not cut into what I offer for sale totally free, that, what I do is I offer a collage of a few sneak peeks versus individual digital files, okay? And I make this in Blog Stomp. That gets around people downloading individual files and not wanting to buy later because they got what they wanted for free. But it still gives them a fantastic experience, carrying the excitement beyond the day of the session and keeping it going towards when we have our session ordering appointment in Premiere, all right? There's some more comments coming up. So Caitlin says, I love this idea so much. Yeah, the refreshments afterwards are a big hit. And especially when you have little kids and getting a little treat, parents appreciate that so much. Something that entertains them on the way home is fantastic. Carolina says, great tips. Awesome. I'm so glad. So guys, today we covered a ton of ways to direct clients towards your value and not your price, to attract better quality clients, to allow you to support your higher price point, and to result in your clients marketing for you with rave reviews to their friends and family. Because when you treat people well, and they are the kind of people who appreciate and value that, most of the time they have people in their circle who appreciate that too. All right. And when you give this kind of experience where from the get-go you are serving value, and focusing on that before you even talk about price, it's a different perspective. It's a different kind of client. All right. And it's a different kind of business. These things are game changers for your business. And the great thing is they are not hard. All right. So keep an eye out in my shop, because right now you can grab my questionnaire and you can get started on raising the value of your business today. And soon I'm going to have that session experience guide too. Okay. So all the things I talked about today, I do in my own business. I don't have to answer, I don't have awkward discussions about money. I don't have clients asking for more and more. I have amazing clients who feel like what they get from me is more than enough. And that's what happens when you lead with value first. All right. Any questions, any comments? Carolina says, I love the customized gift idea. Yes, I'm telling you, it was such a difference between just having like this basket full of goodies that they could individually select. It's almost like they felt awkward about it, like they were kind of invading my space in some way, which they totally were not. But it just changed things when I made it an individualized custom little package for them to take home. They love that. They love it. Like even some of my clients, if it's a couple or it's an engagement session, I always in my, because I also have a kind of a what to wear guide full of tips, session tips and things like that too, that they get after they book. And in that, I'm always encouraging my couples to make it a date. You know, you got all dressed up for this, make it a date. Make this a day out of your session experience. And so a lot of times my couples will be going to dinner afterwards. So if we've done a session that sometimes could be an hour and a half long, and also they traveled to get to wherever our location is, it's been a few hours since they've eaten, they're ready to have dinner, right? So having this little goodie bag that has just a couple of snacks for on the way, you know, to dinner to tie them over, just a little something to go on the road, they really appreciate that. So me customizing that to these little individual gift bags really has been a hit and what I've done ever since. Even if it's, you know, little kids now, like I said, since COVID, you know, we're watching germs and things, but just that they get to have their own little gift bag. They loved it. They loved it. And you guys, a lot of you know, I used to be a dental hygienist. So the thing that people always loved, adults and children alike, were the to-go bags. They love those gift bags. It just had like a toothbrush and a toothpaste, and the kids had some stickers and a toy or something, but they love that, adults and children alike. So whatever you can do, you know, get creative. Think about ways that you can add to what we talked about today. What can you do that's different from other people in your industry? What can you do to elevate your client's experience? And when you lead with that value before, during, and after working with a client, you are going to have success. You are going to be able to set yourself apart from the rest in your community, and you are going to be able to support your prices. They're going to make sense to your clients. You're going to be able to charge more. So if you guys don't have any other questions or comments, I am going to let you go. This was awesome.